Hello. So in this question, you have to solve for the formula for R, the interest rate, and you'll have to also use a bunch of different formulas and put it together. But first, I just want to state that in this question, we're solving for simple interest. Simple interest just means that it's the same, the amount of interest you make is the same every year. And compound interest, which is not what we're solving for in this question, compound interest is the amount of interest you make in year one, which is the same, but then the amount of interest you make in year two is different because you have to compound it by the amount you earned last year, and the amount of interest you earn in year three, you have to factor in what you earn in year one and year two. So in real life, compound interest is more realistic. Okay, so first let's start with a formula. So A is the total amount that you have, that you'll receive. A equals P plus I. P is the principal amount that you have initially, and I is the amount of interest that you're going to make. So essentially, if you put some money in the bank, for example, after a year, it gives you some amount of interest. And then after that year, the amount that you have is equal to the amount of money you had initially plus interest. Now for interest, the formula for interest is I equals P, which stands for principal, R, which stands for rate, and T, which stands for the time. So in this case, so we'll start solving question B. After 3 years, 3 years after principal of 5,000 was invested, you have 6,050. Okay, so firstly, 6,050. This means that this is the total amount that you have now, and your principal was 5,000. This means that your interest that you made is 1,050. So this is the interest that you made in those 3 years. So let's plug that into the formula here. So 1,050 is the amount of interest you made. The principal initially was 5,000. The rate R is what you're trying to find, and T says a period of 3 years. So from here, you're going to divide this side by 5,000 and by 3. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. And the purpose of this is isolating for R. So that's why we're doing this. On your calculator, I suggest you do this one step at a time. So I would do this as 1,050 divided by 5,000. Once you get that answer, you should get 0.21 divided by 3 equals 3R over 3. So all we've done is we've just divided by 5,000. So 0.21 divided by 3, and you should get 0.07 equals R. This means that your interest rate, so this is 0.07, this means your interest rate is going to be 7% because you have to multiply your decimal by 100 to get your interest rate. Lastly, now that you found out that the answer, that your interest rate is 7%, you have to write some sort of therefore statement or some sort of sentence. So you have to say something like, therefore, the interest rate is 7%. And then for part A, it says that you have to solve this formula for R, the interest rate. Based on what I can see, you have to isolate for R. So divide this by P, divide this by T. Whatever you do to one side, do to the other. When you finish, you should get I, so interest, divided by principal and time equals to R. So that should be what the answer is for part A. And for part B, you should say something about that. Therefore, the rate is 7%.